This week on Outdoor Oklahoma, we rely on some divine intervention to get a first-time turkey hunter his bird. And boy, does it ever pay off. From the Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation, Outdoor Oklahoma. Well, hello and welcome to Outdoor Oklahoma. I'm Todd Craighead. You know, if you know me, you know that I'm passionate about spring turkey season. And well, if you're like me, it's not a stretch to say that hearing that first gobble of the season is, well, almost a spiritual experience. I love the sport for so many different reasons. First, it's just that time of year when winter turns to spring and spring into summer. Also, I love the skill and the strategy needed to pull in a bird close. And then who can deny the sense of accomplishment and the sheer adrenaline rush when it all comes together? You know, spring turkey hunting is also great because it is an opportunity to help get a new person a bird many times their very first time out. A mentor can sit with a new hunter and take care of all the technical stuff that comes with experience. They can whisper last-minute instructions, and it's really just simply an ideal situation. Well, today's story is just that, the story of a mentor and a teacher, but with a twist. See, today it's the teacher that learns a thing or two from his student. Hans Dilbeck is the senior pastor of Quail Springs Baptist Church in Oklahoma City and has more than 25 years of experience being a spiritual mentor to thousands of people over the years. But when it comes to turkey hunting, well, he's as green as they come. That's where Clay Gregory, one of Hans's new members and an avid turkey hunter, comes into the picture. The tables are turned today as the teacher becomes the student.
I was raised in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, a small town in Osage County, and had all the advantages of small town life. My dad worked all the time. He owned his own business, and so that typically is what we did with our time when we weren't in school. Had a great family life. Did not hunt at all growing up. Handled guns a little bit, mainly for target practice, but no childhood hunting experiences. When I finished seminary, I went to Snyder, Oklahoma to be a pastor, and Mike Geiger was in our congregation. He was a hunter, and we got to be great friends. And really my first and basically my only hunting experiences had been with him 20 years ago when I was the pastor of that church. We did a little bit of bird hunting, some dove and some quail hunting, and he, of course, is an avid hunter. We've maintained friendship since I left Snyder, and he's oftentimes invited me to come down and hunt with him, and we finally took advantage of that invitation.
Well, turkey hunting for me, you know, applying that mentorship with turkey hunting is kind of like an unofficial guide service for me. I think that I enjoy the aspect of fellowship with other people, other hunters, you know, getting people excited about the sport as much as I enjoy actually being out there on my own, by myself, you know, chasing a bird, chasing a deer or whatever. You're sitting there with a bunch of guys, you're laughing, you know, it's that interaction that's really a lot of fun. And so whenever you can draw somebody into that, you know, through a mentorship, if you will, it really becomes more special. Because there's no way you're sitting there under a tree seeing all these turkeys come at you, and there's just no way, you just have to have no pulse if that doesn't get you excited. And so that's something that's just really special to me, is being able to share that joy with somebody new to hunting, or somebody that maybe doesn't have an opportunity to go to a place that really has a good population of birds. You know, that makes it very special to be able to share those opportunities. And this hunt that we went on in Snyder was just exceptional, because you really had that, you know, firing in all senses, because there was just hundreds of birds out there. You know, everywhere you looked, there were birds coming at you. Now, what's funny is that things change when you're out there in the field, of course, but that initial excitement is unique. You know, it's almost to bird hunting in general, but turkey hunting is a little bit, different type of situation. But you still have that opportunity to be sitting there with other people, sometimes 2 or 3, you know, and be able to interact because you're calling with a bird, they're talking back to you. You know, you just have to be kind of you have to be missing a pulse or two if that's not getting you excited. So, you know, being able to share that with somebody is really probably just as exciting as me having the opportunity to actually hunt myself.
I was talking to Clay Gregory. I knew he's an avid hunter. We talked about the hunting that he likes to do best, and I mentioned the invitation to come and hunt with Mike next turkey season, and he had a way of reminding me of that over the next several weeks, and had the idea of involving Todd Craighead in that hunt.
And so we started scheming a little bit, thinking, hey, let's go hunt turkeys. Let's get Hans introduced to turkey hunting. And oh, by the way, let's see if Todd wants to come join us as well. And so it ended up being, you know, just a lot of fun.
Having never been turkey hunting before, I had really unclear expectations of what the turkey hunt would be like. I expected that there were going to be so many turkey they would be fairly easy to bag a few and maybe be finished by breakfast. Turned out that it was a little more difficult than I thought.
Todd and I discussed a little bit of this. You know, we'd been told, oh, there's tons of birds out there, and you know, we'd kind of played this card before where we'd heard there were tons of birds at a place, and a lot of times, you know, in the spring they start to spread out and they kind of leave that place that they've been seen all year. So, you know, we might have been a little skeptical of what we were going to go down there and see. Personally, I had never seen anything like this before, where you just had wave after wave after wave of turkeys, and they're just, you know, calling and strutting and just moving all over this field. Just, you know, it was just amazing. It was amazing to see all these birds. And I'll be honest with you, even at that point, I mean, I was mildly skeptical that this was going to occur the next morning. You know, hunting is hunting. You know, there's those few times where things are just epic, but then there's those times where, you know, things are normal, you know, where you don't really see much, or things don't work out the way that you expect the night before.
Grew up here in Snyder in southwest Oklahoma, and growing up, my family, instead of going on vacation, we went fishing. And that's what we did on weekends. And once I got out of college and moved back to work in this area, I got involved with a good friend of mine, Mike Ayers, who also helped host the hunt today. And he got me involved really in hunting. And ever since then, we've been hunting partners and have managed this land for turkey and deer especially, and tried to be good stewards, and we plant food plots and try to, you know, do what the wildlife department recommends as far as taking does and things like that, and we really have a pretty unique opportunity. We have a lot of turkey and deer.
Well, we know where they are. Yeah, it looks like they're all spread out down there. It's just a matter of kicking one out early in the morning, isn't it?
We'll have good luck.
Let's do it.
Get back together sunrise.
Good luck.
Straight.
When we come back, we'll test the patience and the nerves of our turkey hunting preacher, right after this week's Outdoor News Report.
We did get there early in the morning before the sun came up, and Todd and Clay positioned us in a great place. And sure enough, as the sun began to rise, we could hear a great number of turkey, and we knew that they were moving our direction. We were excited.
One of our first kind of encounters with negativity was we suddenly became cattle attracted. The cows just swarmed us. And so immediately we kind of get, you know, we have the decoys set up, and you know, they're checking out the decoys. There's clearly, I mean, there's, you know, 40 or 50 of them right in front of us. There's clearly no shooting lane. And so several times, each one of us attempted to go out there and try to scatter the cattle. The sunlight comes up, and next thing you know, those trees just start moving across the wheat field. And they just start, you know, pouring in 5, 10, 15, right out there in the middle of that wheat field. And we're talking maybe, 500 or 600 yards from where we're set up to where we can see these birds coming off a roost. And so they come off a roost, and they hang out in the wheat field, and they kind of stall out. And we thought, okay, so how's this going to work? Eventually, they're going to come to us. You know, the landowner had shared very clearly that we were right in the path of where they were going to be, which was true. The problem is that when they started working their way to us, they started to split.
Clay spent some time trying to decide how to reposition ourselves and the best way to get in a position to call a bird. We did quite a bit of walking and listening.
You know, I sensed a little bit of boredom from Hans. You know, we're sitting there up against a tree. It's starting to warm up on this day. You know, a little bit of that sleepiness is starting to hit, and you know, Hans kind of suggests, well, I guess we ought to head back to the cabin and see how everybody else did, which to me was translated as, I'm sick of this, let's go back. And you know, my suggestion was, let's just give it 20 more minutes. Let's see how that works. And we start calling, and you know, sure enough, they start answering, and they start answering more. And next thing you know, we start seeing a little bit of movement.
But even then, I was very surprised at how long it took, how much patience it requires to actually call them into range and convince them that it's okay to come. I think if I hadn't had experienced hunters with me, I would have either moved too fast or given up on the hunt. It seemed, I would not have anticipated it taking so long to get the turkeys into position.
Yeah, he got that sucker. Man, that was a great shot.
Thank you. You brought him right up to me.
That is fantastic. He just puffed up right there, and he just nailed it. And I missed mine. Man,
That's a lot of fun.
that was fantastic. This has been a fun day.
Great day. Man, I thought you were going to have a bad day. I think you hit him, didn't you?
I hit him, but I should have let him.
You're too busy. You're too busy guiding us.
No, that was a fantastic shot. He was right there.
He was perfect, wasn't he?
Perfect right there.
Yeah, and the other one was, you probably got too much speed.
Yeah. I could have let him come in.
Yeah.
But you know, could have went to it.
I suppose to me the biggest impression is just how much patience required to sit and wait. And I was about to lose patience, but Clay suggested 20 more minutes, and that turned out to be just what it took to bring them in. You know, just I think the visual impact of the day progressing from dark to dawn to now almost noon, and the way the birds change in a different light, and I think it's just it's pretty. It's a beautiful thing to see the birds moving together. And the tom strutting, I think that's probably what impacted me most, just how visually impressive it is.
Just really thankful for the opportunity to come down here. Beautiful country, and just thankful, beautiful weather. Couldn't ask for a better day. Started off a little crisp, but ended up being just a perfect sunny spring day. So we really just feel blessed to be out here, and had a great time.
Yeah,
Good shot, great shot.
Thanks a lot.
I had a great experience with the turkey hunt and actually learned a lot. Obviously, I learned a lot about turkey hunting because I had no experience and was with some guys that really knew what they were doing. Clay was a great mentor. He was patient. He over-explained things, and mainly allowed me just to watch him and follow him and learn through his example, and not only through a bunch of instruction. And of course, as mentor, he gave me the shot. I thought about the hunt and the way that Clay mentored me in the hunt, and it has some relationship to my work in developing people spiritually. The idea of not just teaching people through instruction, but also through example, allowing them to watch you, and how so much of mentoring is helping people to understand what is normal and what should not be happening, what you should anticipate and tolerate, and what you need to do something to change. And really the presence of a mentor allows for patience in a lot of ways, understanding that some things just take time, and you need to get through them while you're waiting for the good things to come along.
You know, a lot of what's missed in hunting is the experience. You know, we just want results a lot of time. We're very results driven as humans. And you know, to me, the results are the memories. And so really to me, that's what makes hunting so memorable is those relationships that are built. You know, you can teach somebody how to hunt, you can teach somebody how to fish, but to me, it's really, you know, just the opportunity to be out there with somebody and share what you love with somebody. You know, it's really that way with people. You know, the same way with my relationship with God, and the same way with my relationship with my wife. These are things that I love, and being able to share that with somebody else is very special.
You know, Hans and Clay already had a great deal in common, but well, now they can add turkey hunting to that list. Whether it's calling someone else's first bird in, or maybe teaching them how to hold a catfish while they unhook it, or maybe even sight in a rifle, we urge you to invest time in someone else's life this year. Not only will you be richly rewarded for it, but you'll also be helping to ensure that this lifestyle that we hold so dear will live on forever. We'd also encourage you to join in on our conservation conversation at Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram. For all of us at your Wildlife Department, I'm Todd Craighead. We'll see you right here next time on Outdoor Oklahoma.
The other great spiritual insight in the turkey hunt is watching those male turkeys struggle with their temptation and their urges, and it was apparent that they knew something was not quite right, but they couldn't resist the call of that female, and allowing themselves to be enticed. It cost one of them his life. I don't know if you want to use that or not. But that's a, you know, you could see those guys just like a human being saying, something not right here. I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Oh, all right. I don't know what I was thinking.
I think we need to return. He turned around and looked at the camera. What'd I tell you?
He's a ham.